guys, so today I wanted to do my first check-in for my Project Pan series. I started this on January 25th, so this was maybe a little bit of a later start than a lot of people got, so I really didn't start until almost early February for this, so I wanted to give myself 3 full months with these products and kind of report out quarterly on how I'm doing with them, because I felt like you wouldn't maybe see dramatic differences if I was reporting out on a monthly basis. So my plan going forward is to report out every 3 months to you guys. I went back and watched my old footage and looked at kind of where these products were when I first started, and I feel like I've made really good progress on some of them, and others I really feel like I've got to step up my game in order to pan these or use up a good portion of them by the end of the year. If you are interested in what I'm panning, I'm doing a pan 18 in 2018. It was a very popular tag going around, and I thought 18 products is something that I can definitely manage and I think I can get through. If you're interested in kind of the reasons I picked the products that I did and kind of where I started, I will link my original kickoff video down below. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with where I'm at today. First things first is a primer. This is the IT Cosmetics number 50 Serum Primer. I would say I probably had just under about half of this bottle when I started, but I added this to my Project Pan because I had a backup already in my closet, so I wanted to make sure I got through this. This also has a ton of skincare benefits, so I wanted to make sure that I used this up and was getting all of those full skincare benefits. I have made a pretty significant dent in this. In fact, I anticipate I will probably use this up in the next month, maybe month and a half. It's been the primer I've used every time I've traveled, so it's been definitely something I've been concentrating on, and I don't see any difficulty using this up by the end of the year. Like a crazy person, I went ahead and included 3 foundations in my Project Pan for this year, but they're ones that I think I can actually get through. First up is by Urban Decay Naked Skin. When I started this, I was up to kind of above that N in the word naked, and now I'm down kind of below the word naked and into the words weightless ultra definition down here. So I would say I probably have maybe an 1/8 of this bottle left in here. So I don't think I'm going to have any issues using this guy up. In fact, I may actually end up using this one up by the time I report back to you guys in another 3 months. Foundation that I feel like I have a harder time gauging how well I'm using it up, to be totally honest, is the IT Cosmetics. This is just the CC Plus cream in the shade Fair. I mean, when you look at it, I don't feel like there's anything up here anymore, and I'm really just down to like what's down in this window. But it's really kind of hard for me to tell the way that I can with this Urban Decay one where I was before and where I am now. I have used this quite a bit, so I'm hopeful that this is one I use up in the next 3 months, but we shall see. And then one that I know I've made progress on, I can see it from the pictures, but one that I thought I might have actually even used up by the time I reported out to you guys, haven't yet, is the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Stick Foundation. I'm in the shade Y225. I will say I've used up maybe close to half of what I started with when I began this pan, but to be honest, I thought I would go through this super fast, and I feel like this is just the foundation that keeps on giving. I guess I just don't use as much of this as I thought I did when I applied it, but I do really love all 3 of these foundations, so it's not been a pain for me to try and want to pan them, because I actually enjoy using them, and that was part of my strategy for my Project Pan, was to pick products that I did enjoy so that I wouldn't feel like, oh, I gotta go use this again, right? I did decide to pan 1 concealer, and that was my Milani Retouch and Erase Light Lifting Concealer. This is the shade 01 Fair. It's not quite as fair as you would think. This is one that I've actually been combining with my Dandelion Shy Beam, which is kind of a bright pinky matte highlighter. It's meant to go on your face, but what I've actually been doing is kind of doing a couple dots of this along with this when I've applied this, so that I can add a little bit more brightness than this actually gives. I do like this concealer. I feel like if the shade was better, I would be more apt to want to repurchase this. I will say the sponge tip applicator is definitely not my favorite. Unlike the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind concealer that's super fluffy and feels nice and soft, this is kind of a rock on the top, and so to be honest, I squirt some out and I kind of smear it around down here, but you could never use this sponge tip applicator to apply. It's not my favorite. It's hard for me to see how much of this I have used up. To be honest, I feel like I haven't made a ton of progress with this, but I will admit I've also been testing a ton of new drugstore concealers, and I also just picked up new concealers during the Sephora VIB sale, so I've got those to now test. So I've not been doing as well on the concealer front, unfortunately. So I'm gonna need to step up my game in order to get through this guy by the end of the year. A powder that I'm super excited that I've hit pan on is my Milani Prep+Set+Glow powder. Guys, this is a lovely powder, and I'm super excited that there is a big old section of pan down here at the bottom. I have had no issues wanting to use this every single day. In fact, this is the one this is the only powder I've been traveling with. This is the powder I've been using as I've been testing different foundations because I feel like it sets my foundation without looking cakey. It's a very thin, lightweight powder, and then it gives a little hint of luminosity, nothing too extreme. You could never use this as a highlighter. In fact, if you swatched it on the back of your hand, I don't even think you would feel a whole lot of shine or luminosity coming off of it, but it does absolutely give you a little bit of a lit from within glow when you use it to set your foundation. I am fairly confident that I will completely use this up by the end of the year because I just love it that much, and if I use it up before then, I will be repurchasing it because I just can't see myself not having this in my collection at this point. The brow product that I was attempting to pan is the IT Cosmetics Brow Power. This is in the shade Universal Taupe. I definitely feel like I have made progress on this. It's a lot shorter than it was when I first started, but I will also admit I thought I would be close to completely done with this, and I don't think I am at this point. I think I've probably got at least 3 more months use out of this, if not 4. So I have used this one quite a bit. It's definitely been the one that I've taken every single time I've traveled, which really forces you to use a product. It's a great strategy. If you do any sort of traveling, personal or work, taking products that you are trying to pan is a perfect way to go. So I'm not overly concerned about using this guy by the end of the year by any stretch of the imagination. I had commented in my first video that I thought maybe I could get through my backup as well by the end of the year. I'm less certain on that front, but we'll definitely get through this before the end of the year. All right, so let's talk bronzers. I had the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer in my pan. This is the light bronzer shade. I know they have released 2 new darker shades, so there's now 4 shades of this out there. You're either gonna love or hate the smell of this. I personally love the smell of this. Like, it's summer in a compact. Every time I smell it, I love it. I do feel like as I look down at this that the waves that are in here are a little less pronounced. I definitely feel like I have made some progress with this, but I also feel like this bronzer is a little more tightly packed in here than I even realized. And that is one of the things I like about it because it's not super powdery. You put your brush in, you don't get any kick up whatsoever. But as a result, I think there's more bronzer in here than I realized. So making a big divot in a product like this isn't necessarily happening as fast as I thought. I still think I can pan this by the end of the year, but if you were going to ask me today which ones I'm most nervous about, this would definitely be one of them. Another bronzer, and it's actually a bronzer blush duo that I was attempting to pan, is from e.l.f. This is one of their aqua blushers. This is in the shade Bronzed Pink Beige. This is a cream bronzer. It has a cream blush on one end and the bronzer on the other. My goal for this was to actually pan the bronzer. I thought that was far more likely than me panning the blush. And part of that's just the nature of the product, right? You're going to put on a lot more bronzer than you do on blush. Blush is concentrated to the apples of your cheek. Bronzer's going all over the place, right? So you're going to use up the bronzer faster than the blush. I just find this is a really good bronzer for those natural makeup days where I'm going to be outside a lot or walking around or very active. You put this on, it sets into place. It really looks super natural because it's a cream product, but it really locks down. So you're able to wear it for 12-14 hours, walking around theme park, doing whatever you want to do outside during the summertime, and I really feel like it doesn't budge. I did use the blush every single day. I was down there as well, so I made some progress on that as well. I have not hit pan on this, but I definitely feel like that is coming here fairly soon. I feel like there's a much bigger divot in this product than there was before, so love this, would highly recommend it, and hoping that by the next time I report out, I've hit pan. So a blush that I was trying to pan is from e.l.f. It's an incredibly affordable product, but it's phenomenal. It's that perfect sort of nudie rose blush. And I'm happy to report there's the tiniest baby pan happening in this corner. When I first started my pan project, for some reason, I was using up this side of the blush a lot faster than the middle or the other side. So I will admit that when I used this product, I was definitely concentrating my brush down at this end to try and hit pan. It's kind of a weird place to start panning from. Most people, you see it happening right in the middle and working out, but hey, what are you gonna do? And I'm happy to say that there is a little tiny bit of pan down here in the corner. So I do think this blush is something that I will have a much bigger pan on by the end of the year. Will I use it up? Probably not, but I will say, as with all of my powder products, my goal wasn't to use them up. I wasn't sure that was possible. I wanted to hit pan on them and maybe a pretty big significant pan by the end of the year. So I think that is doable for sure with this guy. So for highlight, I actually have 2. I'm not entirely sure what I was thinking picking this. This is the Cover FX Moonlight highlighter. I love this highlighter, and that is why I picked it, because I thought I could use it every single day, either with a light hand for a natural or build it up a little bit more. I've used the heck out of this, and you can definitely see that there's a lot more wear and tear, especially towards the middle of this highlighter. But it's a highlighter, right? You don't use very much of it. It was a fairly new highlighter to me when I decided to pan it, so I still am very nervous that I'm even going to be able to have a significant dividend in this by the end of the year. We are going to try, folks. Don't get me wrong. We are going to try. But I definitely feel like there is progress on here. I can see it. It looks a lot more worn and torn than at the beginning of the year, but yeah, I don't know about this one. Then the other highlighter that I picked, I'm also having a hard time gauging on. This is my Wet n Wild Mega Cushion Highlighter. It's just hard for me to feel how much is actually left in here. It still feels like there's a decent amount of liquid in here. I picked this because it's one I thought I could wear on my own, or if I really wanted an intense highlight, I could put this on and a powder over the top. So I do still really like this one. I just feel like it's a little juicier still than I was hoping it would be, but I don't feel like I'm able to give you guys like a clear example of how much I've used up of this one, unfortunately. One eyeshadow in this, because I also recognize that eyeshadow is one of those things that I like to change up on the regular. I like using lots of different palettes. I like rotating through there. So the idea of panning a specific palette just didn't appeal to me personally. But one product that I thought, hey, let's try and pan this guy. This is from ColourPop. It is the Super Shock Shadow in Wattles. And I am excited to report that I see pan at the bottom of this puppy. I use this almost every single day while we were traveling in Florida. It is my go-to shade when I just want a very simple makeup look. I definitely think I'm going to completely use this up by the end of the year, and this will definitely be a shade that I repurchase. It's a satin shade from them, so it's one that I feel like I can use all over my lid and get just a really soft glow on my lid, but it's not so glowy that I can't also then use it as a crease shade and put something else on my lid itself. So I use this shadow both ways. Love it, highly recommend it. Probably one of my favorite shades from ColourPop, and I'm excited to see that I see a little silver at the bottom of this guy. Okay, so final three products. First up is a lip liner. This is my Charlotte Tilbury lip liner in Pillow Talk. I have a backup of this as well, which is why I included this in here. It is kind of the perfect nude lip liner to me. As you can see here, it's definitely a lot shorter than it was when I first started. However, I kind of thought I'd be further along with this guy because I felt like I was using it a lot. So definitely need to step up my game on that front, but I do think this one is actually possible. A second lip product that I will admit I'm not doing nearly as well on is my MAC lipstick. This is in the shade Blankety. I feel like I've used this quite a lot, but it doesn't look like I've used any at all. So I really want to prioritize this one for the next quarter and really see if I can make a significant dent in this one, because I knew this was going to be a challenge to finish a lipstick that was fairly new to my collection in a single year. But I thought I'd be doing better than I am. So, like I said, gonna make this guy a priority for sure. And then my final lip product is one that I unfortunately can't give you a ton of info on. This is the Catrice Lip Cushion. This is in the shade Better Make a Mauve. I love this cushion. I've used it a ton. It's like my favorite everyday lip color. It's so easy to pop on. It's lightly hydrating, gives a nice tint of color to your lips. It lasts because it's got a little bit more thickness than like my favorite Marc Jacobs glosses or a butter gloss, but it doesn't feel sticky on your lips. It manages to kind of do both. I think this cushion tip applicator would absolutely suck for deeper colors, but it works really well for nudes like this. This is a twist up product, so you kind of twist the bottom here and more comes out this little sponge tip applicator. The only thing that makes me think I might be getting close to using this up is that I feel like the twist is feeling a little more difficult to turn than it did at the beginning of the year. So that may indicate to me that I'm getting near the bottom of this and I may be actually about to squeeze up some of the last product. But kind of like this Wet n Wild cushion, I'm not entirely sure I'm going to know that I've used it up until it's just gone. So we will report out in 3 months and see if this is gone. Who knows? Okay, so that wraps up my first Project Pan update. I hope this was fun for you guys to see kind of where I am in this panning project. I feel like I've made really good progress on some products and definitely not so much on some others. So definitely know where I need to concentrate my efforts over the next coming months. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys are having a great day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.